There was a poet named Charles Lamb who lived from 1775 until 1834. So I'm going to read a couple of poems by Charles Lamb. This first one is called The Old Familiar Faces. Ah, we all long for those long days ago that we had when we were young. Now that we're growing older, we miss them. But Charles Lamb spoke of this in a poem, The Old Familiar Faces. I have had playmates, I have had companions in my days of childhood, in my joyful school days. All are gone, the old familiar faces. I have been laughing, I have been carousing, drinking late, sitting late with my bosom cronies. All, all are gone, the old familiar faces. I have a friend, a kinder friend has no man. Like an ingrate, I left my friend abruptly, left him to muse on the old familiar faces. Ghost-like, I paced round the haunts of my childhood days. Each thing of earth seemed a desert I was bound to traverse, seeking to find the old familiar faces. Friend of my bosom, thou, more than a brother, why wert not thou born in my father's dwelling? So might we talk of the old familiar faces. How some they have died, and some they have left me, and some are taken from me. All are departed, all, all are gone, the old familiar faces. And now a second poem by Charles Lamb. This is a bit sad, a very sad subject, but he set forth upon this to talk about this poem that's titled On an Infant Dying as Soon as Born. I saw where in the shroud did lurk a curious frame of nature's work, a floweret crushed in the bud, a nameless piece of babyhood, was in her cradle coffin lying, extinct with scarce the sense of dying, so soon to exchange the imprisoning womb for darker closets of the tomb. She did but ope an eye and put a clear beam forth, then straight up shut for the long dark, ne'er more to see through glasses of mortality. Riddle of destiny, who can show what thy short visit meant, or know what thy errand here below? Shall we say that nature, blind, checked her hand and changed her mind just when she had exactly wrought a finished pattern without fault? Could she flag, or could she tire? Or lacked she the Promethean fire? With her 9 moons long workings sickened, that should thy little limbs have quickened, limbs so firm they seemed to assure days and life of health and days mature, woman's self in miniature, limbs so fair they might supply themselves now but cold imagery, the sculptor to make beauty by. Or did the stern-eyed fate decry that babe or mother? One must die. So, in mercy, left the stalk and cut the branch to save the shock of long years widowed, and the pain when single state comes back again to the lone man who, reft of wife, thenceforth drags a maimed life. The economy of heaven is dark, and wisest clerks have missed the mark. Why human buds like this should fall, more brief than fly ephemeral, that has his day, while shriveled crones stiffen with age to stocks and stones, and crabbed use the conscience sears in sinners of 100 years. Mother's prattle, mother's kiss, baby fond thou ne'er wilt miss. Rites which custom does impose, silver bells and baby clothes, coral redder than those lips which pale death did late eclipse. Music framed for infants' glee, whistle never tuned for thee. Though thou wantest not, thou shalt have them. Loving hearts were they which gave them. Let not one be missing, nurse. See them laid upon the hearse of infants slain by doom perverse. Why should kings and nobles have pictured trophies to their grave, and we churls to thee deny thy pretty toys with thee to lie, a more harmless vanity?